Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, Jacob. Hey, Christo. Thanks for that feedback on the t-shirts and our trader jackets. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, Patrick. So, again, sorry there aren't regular live streams. Good morning, PMG, but I appreciate everybody keeping on the lookout for them. I decided to do this at the last minute. We had some jobless claims. I hope everybody spotted that little topping pattern in the Nasdaq yesterday, and the potential was confirmed in the S&P. Just wanted to review a couple things. We had initial jobless claims spiking fairly high, way higher than expected. 235 expected, previous 233, actual now coming in at 261. Continuing jobless claims were a little better, but the market did bounce a bit. They were still having no rate hike priced in for June. So that's where we sit. And now it's very quiet. You get some wholesale inventories coming out at 9 a.m., but other than that, it's very quiet through the end of the week. Everything's hinging on the meeting next Wednesday and CPI on Tuesday. So just remember that going into where we sit right now. Amazon's up, Adobe's up, but other than that, it's pretty mixed this morning. Not much to talk about there. Fed Watch tool, we still have pause, one potential hike, and then back to where we sit now with rates. So that's where it's priced in right now. I also want to point out we're back into extreme greed mode on the fear and greed index. And this is where that doesn't mean we're topping exactly now, but it's where I really start focusing on for a more significant topping pattern. Remember, we're in overvalued even on the market valuation index. And that is pretty substantial too. So watching for key topping patterns, just we don't have anything yet. This is a valid mini double top. You can see even on the 4-hour, these are the two tops. It is confirmed. I'm watching for a trigger either on the daily or 4-hour. It's not, or we need some major momentum to the downside, like with what happened to the NASDAQ yesterday. So you have the NASDAQ. We had this was a valid potential double top, and this was momentum. So when I see stuff like that, look at the momentum bars. I hope everybody spotted this in a little flagging pattern back to 5 minute going in here and then just down, and you see the final target and then the eventual rollover play again last night. But that one is done. And finally, the NASDAQ's back into the rotation zone. The key support level, if we pull back some more, is right around 14,130 area to about 14,100, where I'm watching. The key level for a continued pullback in the short term is a close below 13,989. On the S&P, the levels, which again, you either need that momentum or the 4-hour close, but the levels are 4250 roughly, 4239, 4231. Other than that, on any bounce move, we have pretty much 4292, 4295 is major resistance right now. I'd be surprised if we broke to new highs in front of next week, but this market is this market. The Dow, if we rotate up more, I'm watching this, could form a potential double top. It is not rotated up high enough yet, but if we do move up, then I will be watching for a little mini potential double top here, which we'd have to get above 33,783. Right now, you can see we've stalled out against the 62.5. So we're in that very key resistance zone right now. All right. I want you to keep that in mind. Also, so that's really what I'm keeping an eye on with the Dow. The Russell, remember, if you listen to the podcast, and I hope everybody did, remember I brought up the NASDAQ Russell. I know some people have put on this with either stock, the IWM ratio, or using futures. I know Jim was tweeting about this also. I reviewed this on the podcast on Friday, but we are already seeing it come back in. Remember, if you didn't hear what I said, you can still tune into this podcast because we could still get some further drops. Now I'm expecting some kind of bounce at some point, but why I'm bringing that up is because remember the Nasdaq can even stall out and the Russell could catch up. They could both fall, but the Nasdaq falls more than the Russell. Now back to the Russell. We've stalled at that 62.5. So guess what key level I'm watching for a daily close over? Roughly 1900. Just remember 1900, because then we'd still have the upward pressure in the Russell. So even if the Nasdaq turns and bounces a bit, you might get outperformance in the Russell, which will still bring in that ratio. That's why I'm really watching this. Now, would not be surprised to see some of a bounce after this tear on the Russell. Clearly a rotation out of, from the last few days, out of the Nasdaq into the Russell. So that's where that sits. On any pullback with the Russell, 1860 is key, and then I'm paying attention to the daily rotation zone. Okay, the VIX is just psychotically at low things, but there is no major reversal pattern unless something comes out of the blue. Notes, I'm watching for a little continued pullback in here to make a more substantial bottoming pattern. The 10-2s have bounced off the first major double target. The dollar index, I'm keeping an eye that still is a valid potential double top, and we're testing the bottom of the rotation zone, but it is not confirmed or triggered yet. So that's the only thing I'm really focusing on with that. Crude is still in congestion, waiting for either a breakout or breakdown trade or some other formation besides, and I'm not even looking at it at short term. Gold, right now my support is 1955, resistance is 1995. Anything in there would just be micro trading, which again, I'm not looking at. So anything in there is just back and forth. The key thing, we still have daily cycles heading down. Weekly cycles are getting the bottom. I'm starting to watch more since the weekly rotation zone is bounced. I'm watching for a breakout play, but we have not had it yet. That's my thing on gold. And then I'll watch for a bounce, a potential another rollover, and a more significant bottom. We do not have a significant bottoming pattern yet, even with a breakout. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on with gold. The topping thing with the custom 5 index yesterday triggered the double top. So I will be watching for, even if we bounce today, I'll be watching for another rollover play in some of the mega caps. That does not preclude a bounce, though. Euro, still watching for the double bottom. I'm just jumping around. Bitcoin, we have everything going on with the SEC. Some of these things are going to get interesting really quick, but we're still going to get the pumps in that. Nvidia, remember I was on Tuesday watching for that topping pattern. Wednesday, little down day. Thursday, we finally got some selling into the rotation zone. Remember, this pattern slightly lower probability because it's against the daily rotation zone, but I will be watching for follow through. We could get some bounce plays in here with daily cycles getting to the bottom. So bounce plays will not surprise me, but then I'll be watching for a rollover play unless we really get a lot of strength, and there's no stop reduction yet on Nvidia. I know people in some comments wanted a Tesla update. Daily cycles are at the top. We're incredibly overbought. But any pullback, even to 211 to about 215, is coming into support. We don't have a major top pattern yet. I'm watching for a pullback, then the secondary reaction to set up a more significant topping pattern at this point for Tesla. Also on the weekly, we're getting to the weekly tops and weekly very overbought. The only thing is if we get a weekly close above about 236, 235, then that sort of shifts the probability where even after a pullback, we could see some higher prices. But until that weekly happens, nope. Watching for the pullback and then setting up more of a significant topping pattern on a daily. So that's pretty much hitting some key things where we stand right now. With the DAX is still in consolidation also. You know, again, would not be getting chopped going into next week. However, we'll be watching for the continued rollover plays unless this double is invalid. I'll sell the house to short NVIDIA. I would not sell a house to short any stock. All right. That's where I pretty much will leave it. Didn't want to do something too long today, but hey, I missed everybody here and I thought I'd give what I was keeping an eye on. Apple is into the rotation zone, so I'm going to start watching as long as we hold above 175 for a secondary bounce thing there. We got Microsoft, which we had the breakdown play. Still going to be watching for a little bounce in here and then some more continued rollover play there. All the targets have virtually been hit on that Microsoft already. Google, you can start to see the character changing. So this is where we're really, even though Google on the daily closed above, I'm watching for that weekly close above 126. I'm going to see if this closes the weekly above 126. If not, I'm really focused on some more pullback after bounces. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Just going to keep this short and sweet. There will not be one tomorrow at all, but if I see anything, well, maybe I'll be popping on a couple times next week because we got CPI numbers and the Fed. Maybe I can see if Bob can come on like a Tuesday morning to talk about CPI numbers. So stay tuned. Definitely subscribe to the channel and make sure you're ring the bell to do all notifications. So if I put some of these up, they'll be more to the point, and we'll figure out if we can get back to the regular schedule at some point. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Eric. And again, thank you. And if you have anything to tell, you reach out to me via the support email or leave some comments in the videos. I will look at them if you have stuff you want to look at. I'll talk to everyone later. Bye for now.